earth, fire, air, water. Only the Avatar can master all 4 elements and bring balance to the world.
Games tied to movie or TV licenses typically get a bad rap, and this holds especially true when it comes to adaptations of shows associated with children's programming, though there have been exceptions to the norm. When it comes to the universe of Avatar: The Last Airbender, the series saw its fair share of mediocre video game adaptations, much to the disappointment of the fanbase. However, when another game based in that universe, The Legend of Korra, was announced only a few short months ago, the initial reception was met with a much more positive tune.
Yes! We won!
Fantastic victory for the Fire Parents!
That's because when fans saw the name of the developer, Platinum Games, it gave them a reason to hope. The masters of character action were giving The Legend of Korra their personal attention, and their union with publisher Activision came so far out of right field that it almost seemed like a hoax. Yet, here we are now at the release, and after months of anticipation, it's time to find out whether or not Platinum Games can work its magic. Or is this simply another rush job to get a licensed product out the door in a timely fashion?
I'm gonna crush you.
And now triads are here too?
The Legend of Korra is a character action game that puts you in the role of the almighty Avatar, a powerful entity that has mastered the 4 elements of air, water, earth, and fire. Other people can manipulate elements too, in an action known as bending, but not everyone possesses the ability, and the jealousy and fear of those without the power over those who possess it is what sets the stage for the Legend of Korra series. However, the game takes place further along in the series' chronology, shortly after the conclusion of Season 2. While it's not necessary to have any knowledge of the series to follow the game's plot, it'll spoil the resolution of the show's 2nd season, so be warned.
Hey you, stop!
What's amazing about Korra is the amount of effort put into the game's narrative. Animated cutscenes that look lifted from an episode of the show help drive the plot forward, and the original cast members reprise their roles to give the game a more authentic feel. It's a relatively simple plot to follow that feels like a miniseries, but ultimately, it doesn't come close to capturing the impact of the show's more mature themes. There was potential for something much more here, and the writers have proven time and time again that they can do amazing things within short time frames. Just look at the Avatar 1 mini-arc. Even if the story doesn't deliver the goods, Platinum Games is still at the helm when it comes to the action. Korra runs at a smooth 60 frames per second, and the in-game animations look great for the most part. The environments are a bit on the simple side when it comes to visuals, but it gets the job done. What is a disappointment is that we don't see much of the game's world, with many of the stages strictly set within Republic City, the South Pole, and finally within the Spirit World. A lack of diversity is one of the core issues with Korra, and clocking in at under 10 hours to complete, it doesn't really get a chance to show what it can do.
How is that possible?
This issue extends to other areas of the game, including the combat. Seeing Korra bend the elements is a satisfying sight, and as you unlock each new element and improve Korra's powers by leveling up and purchasing new accessories, the battle system starts to stretch its legs. However, unlike Platinum's other efforts like Bayonetta, Vanquish, or Revengeance, Korra doesn't constantly throw new and unique situations at you to keep the combat from getting too repetitive. Instead, you face off against the same types of enemies and boss-like foes frequently, with the only changing factor being the quantity hurled at you. Most enemies have obvious tells that can be parried easily, and in most cases, it's better to sit back and let foes come to you so you can easily counter their attacks and blow them up with a single attack. Other times it feels like button mashing truly is enough to progress through most obstacles, especially once Korra's elements are decently powered up. In the early goings, this isn't true since you initially lose your bending powers and have to unlock them one by one, but eventually you become the fully powered avatar that's a force to be reckoned with. Compounding the issues with the combat system is the shoddy camerawork. Platinum still hasn't grasped how to handle camera angles in tight areas, or when you're fighting too close to an invisible wall. And more so than before, it's easy to get disoriented or frustrated with the odd angles. It'd be nice if at some point the developer could figure out a solution to this problem, since it's one of the only few blemishes on their rather spectacular track record. Aside from combat, you'll also race through the city streets on Korra's trusty polar bear dog Naga. It's an endless runner that requires fast reflexes to dodge obstacles, smash through barriers, and leap over pitfalls. It's somewhat fun the first time around, but not much is added to the formula over the course of the game, aside from a rather frustrating boss encounter. While it doesn't require a high degree of precision to reach the goal of each of these levels, collecting all the spirit orbs to earn a better ranking does require some more finesse.
Yeah! Good job, girl.
The bottom line is that compared to previous efforts, Korra's combat is a letdown, and it's clear this game didn't receive as much TLC as something like Bayonetta 2. This is also apparent in the more than usual visual glitches and other oddities, like when we tried to collect an item for a quest and it didn't register, forcing us to restart the level. The game tries to lure you back with the ability to earn more collectibles and a pro-bending game mode unlocked after beating the game, but it's not nearly enough to draw you back in. There was so much potential for Korra when you consider the once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for a developer like Platinum to work on the combat, but it seems like the Japanese studio's B team showed up for this project. The game is certainly better than any of the previous efforts to adapt the Avatar universe, but it falls short of expectations. On its own, it's just an average character action game with a bland story that offers little incentive to come back for seconds. You're better off watching the show.
And don't come back.